Hey, so what's up, man? It's the Rucksack Revolution Wednesday night live stream. And this link down here, StreamYard.com, you can find that right there. You can put that in your browser. You can go to the site underneath it that's scrolling, says patreon.com/rucksackrev. And you'll find a public post on my Patreon site. It says something like link to the live stream. And it says click here, and you click on that. Or you could be like Jet Garner here, who actually I sent out like 30 invites to different people, knowing maybe 5, 6 might show up. But I figured Jet would. So here's Jet.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, what's up, man? You don't look like you're in a Subaru Outback.
Yeah, not anymore. I've got 4 walls and a ceiling for the moment. It's not so bad.
Cool. Right on, man. So where you at?
I am in Reno, Nevada right now.
All right, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see something here. I want to see. Mitch is always messing with stuff. Oh, there we go. There's the Matrix.
All right. Oh, nice.
Yeah, Mitch is always adding on little things for this, and he added on this Rucksack Revolution background. I was like, what? But I just
that's cool.
See what he did now.
You got to see. I dig the little the thumbnail of you up in the top corner.
Yeah, he's got a few of those. It's this is like StreamYard, and it's pretty cool. We actually we're paying like $240 a year to get unlimited streaming on this because it's that good. I'm a cheap bastard, but this actually is worth it. But see, there's the StreamYard logo that comes with it, and actually we're live right now, so I guess I'll put on the live one. But there's also this one, and no, I'm not trying to look like him, but to pay homage to the dude. I hear that Jeff Bridges has like lymphoma. He posted about it. The dude has cancer.
You know what?
It's treatable. So
I just read about that the other day that he came out and admitted that he actually got diagnosed with lymphoma. Yeah, that sucks. 2020 has been rough on a lot of folks, man. Van Halen, I am so sad about Van Halen.
Oh man, and the dude from the Outfield, man. You remember the Outfield? Like they weren't Van Halen, but like they had a couple good tunes,
That sounds familiar. I believe I have. I think I've listened to the Outfield, almost guaranteed.
Yeah. They were kind of like somewhere between. They were kind of like just before Weezer, and not quite as good. They were more pop than Weezer, is how I think of them. But here's you haven't seen this thing that Mitch did the other day. We're both like SEC football fans, and so this is Jadeveon Clowney making a famous hit on a Michigan player, and this is going to be our kind of like mic drop thing, So this is like Jeff Bridges. Here's what you got to do to cancer, bro. Here's what you got to do to cancer. That's like the mic drop or the fuck cancer,
Yeah,
he added this one on. And this is like basically, I think, like if someone says something stupid. Wow. Okay, that's pretty. He said that sounded like a trash can. The sound he got. It sounds more like he just got thrown in the hole, man, for 30 days.
You know what that reminds me? That reminds me like that's cancel culture right there. Like canceled. Cancels.
That's the first time I've even seen it. We were talking about it the other day. That sounds like that made me think of the song 30 Days in the Hole by Humble Pie or something.
It definitely sounds like a trash can. It sounds like it's like, oh, that was really awesome. Trash.
Man.
What a beautiful opinion. Throw it on the ground.
So what have you been doing lately, man? You've been driving around. Like, you have been posting some amazing like ones at Bryce Canyon. The photos at Bryce Canyon, I think, were my favorites. Yeah,
man. So, wow. Let's see. So I saw you when me and you did our first interview. Good grief. Yeah, in Memphis, Tennessee.
You're at the little brew pub, gastropub place.
Flying Saucer.
That's it.
The Flying Saucer. Whole ceiling was just glistened with these like golden pans that you can buy apparently and get put on, which is pretty cool. But yeah, when we first talked, Jesus, what was that like? Was that June or July when we had that meeting?
It was July because I think it was July. I climbed Mount Elbert on the 5th of July. I know that.
Okay, so
I got the window on the 4th of July, so this was after that. So this was maybe like about a week later.
Yeah, it's somewhere like second week of July.
Yeah, yeah.
But either way, yeah, when we were talking then, I was pissed off about my bike. Remember? We said fuck Trek.
Oh yeah, so you got it back though. Is that the bike?
That is the same. That is the same bike. 3.5 month turnaround.
Dang, what'd you do? Put it in a trash compactor?
You know, apparently I have thighs that have the torque of a giant because the bearings, they said they'd never seen anything like it. Find that hard to believe. But they said that the bearings exploded inside the wheelhouse, like the rear wheel casing. So they said it literally like disintegrated and the bearings were done. And I was like, I didn't do anything with this bike that it wasn't supposed to do. I rode 400 miles on it, and I was like, and I made the same joke to them. It's like, you know, unless I've got legs like Superman, the bearings should have held. Like, I'm not that flippin' strong. There's no way. So either way, I burned them out after 400 miles. They're supposed to last for like thousands of miles. You know, 10,000 miles.
Yeah.
Maybe even more.
I don't think I've ever owned a new bike in my life since I was a kid. Like the one I have now, I got the Schwinn Moab.
Yeah.
I got that at a pawn shop here in Ocala, like 2004, right before I moved up to Kentucky to finish grad school. And it was something like, I think it was I wanted 150 for it. And I was talking to the clerk and I'd had a couple of beers. And it was like in the afternoon, kind of late, and I managed to find every little scratch and dent and whatever, you name it.
Right.
Ended up, he sold it to me with tax for something like $80. And then the owner of the shop came out and got pissed. But I had the receipt, bro. I was $75. I got it. He wanted like 150, and I think I talked him down to 75, some crazy price.
That's a steal.
It was fake, but maybe it's 125, and I talked him down 50. It was a lot. It was a steal.
Right.
Yeah, and I've had it ever since. I'd love to get a new bike, though. I'd love to get a new bike. You know, what would you recommend? What would you recommend for a new bike today?
Fucking not Trek.
Not Trek, man. Is Cannondale worth it? Like everyone's always like, that's like the mecca or something of mountain bikes.
So
you know?
the people that I know that ride bikes. So Trek is normally a very trusted brand. I would second guess that at the moment. Specialized is an awesome brand of bikes.
Right.
And I've got an obscure one for you. I'm going to have to take a quick look at one of my friends. So I have a buddy. Honestly, you would love him on the show. His Instagram handle is Roller Colonel. He is a 30-year Army EOD dude.
Holy crap.
Officer, man.
I just saw the Hurt Locker last night for the first time.
Oh, that's a terrifying movie.
It's weird. It's like my brain was working all through, and at the end, man, when it comes back, he's walking down. It's like 365 days left in the tour, man. A rotation. I was just like, whoa.
The brand that he likes. Let's see if you can see this. Look at this man. Look at this man. I would not fuck with that man.
No.
So he uses Colnago, Colnago.
Yeah, I know that, but that's a good brand. It's an Italian brand.
He swears by Colnago. So I'm over here thinking I would go with Specialized, Colnago, and if you can have some kind of guarantee, I would go with Trek as well. I love the bicycle. The bike is great. I've gotten it back. I did my first ride last night. I put the picture up on Instagram. Like I rode about 10 miles round trip, and it rode like a dream. I mean, it's a beautiful bike, and I took most of that was off road too, out in the like the hills behind Spanish Springs, Nevada. It was beautiful.
I think I was in Specialized. I remember when I was younger and I was into biking. Man, Specialized was a good bike then.
Yeah, so
it's not like Mongoose. Mongoose was a great bike then, and now they sell them at Walmart.
Right. Now it's a knockoff. Used to be great. Specialized is still great. I think that Specialized was one of the ones that's like one of the OG, like you said, it's one of the OG touring bikes. I was reading a book when I started my bike trip that I then canceled. We'll talk about my travels in a second. It's been a gnarly year, right? But there's a guy who rode, I think his name was like Jeremiah Jenkins or something like that. He wrote a really, really cool book that I was reading. on my
What's
trip.
the name of the book? That name rings a bell. Maybe I'm thinking of Jeremiah Johnson. Maybe I'm thinking of what Jenkins, man? I don't know.
So,
Jeremiah
but
Jenkins.
he rode 14,000 miles on a specialized bicycle.
Wow.
He rode from Oregon to Argentina. He rode all the way down,
Holy shit.
all the way across both continents.
That is epic. That is, Mitch, if you're hearing this, that's an epic road trip. That's proper.
Let's see. The name of his book is...
This guy's Jeremiah Jenkins, and he rode from, where was it again, to Argentina?
From Oregon to Argentina.
Oregon. Wow. So is that like down the Pan American Highway, I guess, a lot of it, right? And then somehow made it over
Yeah.
to the other. Yeah, wow.
Let's see. Bike, Oregon to Argentina.
Because you'd either have to ride down around the coast, which is a long ways, somehow through the Amazon or something.
Oh,
whatever, or over the Andes.
Jedediah Jenkins.
Jedediah Jenkins.
Jedediah Jenkins, and it's To Shake the Sleeping Self is the name of the book.
To Shake the Sleeping Self.
Yeah. It's an incredible book. The very first line he writes is something along the lines of, anybody who has that itch, if you think you have it, the cure for that itch is travel. That's like one of the first lines of the book.
What's the name of that book again?
To Shake the Sleeping Self.
To Shake this. Okay, got it. Go ahead, man.
By Jedediah Jenkins. Incredible freaking book. And I just resonated with the guy so well. He did a huge version of the kind of crap I do all the time. Where, you get a little stale. This happens to me almost every single year. You get a little stale. The job was a little repetitive. Even though I work super dynamic jobs, my entire life is run by PTSD. So I'm
about
weird.
Some of those jobs, man. People want to know. Talk about some of them jobs. What kind of jobs you have, man?
These days, so after college,
we've talked about a little of this, but other people haven't.
Oh, absolutely, no worries. So I do a lot of guiding. I worked as a kayak guide. One of my favorite jobs after Berkeley has been, I was a kayak guide and a small craft search and rescue dude on the California coast in Point Reyes National Seashore. For about a year and a half. I did it for 2 seasons, but absolutely loved it. And I mean, what you're basically doing is the type of mental health work that I'm working on now. You're just doing it for civilians, and you're doing it because they frankly, they're sick of the city. Their life is a little stale too. And so they're paying good money to pay you to go and talk about eagles, take them to a cool beach. Let's go camping. Tell me about the dang raccoons that stole my food. Like,
I gotta get in one of them kind of jobs. I know I'm getting old, but dang,
dude,
man.
you could totally do it. There's plenty of kayaking, especially like kayaking on a bay, like I was. You're not
like in the sea kayaks, right? The bigger ones.
Yes, yeah. They're usually between, like, a short one is 12 feet long, and they go up to kind of 16, 19 feet long as far as the singles go. But this is a closed deck kayak. So you have to, it's partially technical. You're gonna have to learn some basic kayaking skills. But by the way, this is an entry level thing. Like our tours, we would throw people in tandem kayaks, so they would have a 22-foot long boat, 110 pounds each. They have 2 people in each one, and I would give them, like, me and the other guides. Ironically, the house I'm staying at Reno was one of my best friends from that job. He actually trained me in that job. But either way, like, we would teach them on the boat dock, the basics. It would take us about 45 minutes to go through some safety protocols. This is what a spray skirt does. This attaches you to your boat. This is what you do and don't do. This is basic paddling form and maneuvering and whatnot.
Don't lose your paddle, no matter what.
Yeah. Matter of fact,
boot camp, don't lose your weapon.
Yeah, absolutely. Your paddle is your rifle.
Right.
Like if you capsize, which we have to cover capsize drills just in case somebody freaking capsizes. They tried to pet the shark a little too freaking far and freaking fell. And well, So like the first thing you do, one is grab the boat. You're in the ocean. First thing you do is grab the boat. Second thing you do is grab your paddle. Like we can talk about everything else afterwards, but step one is you have a boat, and step two is you have a paddle. These are critical. But either way, like we teach all of that right there on the dock. So it is a little technical, but it's totally reasonable. And it's frankly a low impact sport. We're not doing downhill mountain biking. Whereas if you wreck, like I wrecked last night coming off the mountain I was on, if you do that at, whatever age, frankly, even I could have done it. You can dislocate a shoulder. You can get hurt. Here I say this, I've dislocated my shoulder kayaking, but that was different. On a normal tour, anybody can learn to do it. It's great. You can totally do it.
The only time I ever really hurt my shoulder bad biking was actually in Louisville, Kentucky, man. They got bike paths all through that city pretty well. It's kind of a nice little ride, but I went across, it was raining, or it had rained, and I went across this little wooden bridge that was like, it might have been 15 feet long, maybe.
Yeah, Chip. Yeah.
But it was slick and had this little kind of curve to it, and I'm just cruising along, everything's cool,
great
ride.
I could understand.
And it was like ice, dude. It was like, it's like bam. And all I know is, like, I went down, and I don't remember if I walked or rode my bike home. I had to get about a mile and a half to. I wasn't too far from home, so I was lucky. I was like maybe just a couple miles. But what I remember was I went to class the next day, or maybe I had 2 days off. But I went to class. I was in grad school, seminary, and I went to ask a question, and I did this. And this woman who sat next to me, a friend of mine, she's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Man, like I fucked myself up the other day riding." And she's like, "Well, you should go to the hospital." And I said, "I can't do that. I ain't paying that deductible for this."
Right.
I said, but she goes, "So what's up?" And I said, "Well, I can raise my arm this high." And then between pain and just, it wouldn't move. I would not go any higher than this, but I could take my hand and raise it, and it was fine.
That sounds terrible.
It was really weird. It was, I still to this day, I don't know if I dislocated it and somehow it popped back in in the same instant, or I don't know, dude. I've talked to chiropractors I've known. No one knows what it is. It was for about 3 weeks. It was really bad. And one day she's like, maybe a week in, she's like, "Have you gone to the doctor?" I said, "No." And she's like, "What are you going to do if it doesn't get better?" And I said, "I guess every time I ask a question, I'll have to hold my hand up."
Right.
But after about 6 weeks, it was basically okay. And 8 weeks, it kind of was a done deal. You didn't feel nothing. But that first 3 weeks, especially the first two, there was no improvement. I was just kind of like, I cannot believe it, man. I just totally screwed my arm up on a 10-foot wooden bridge in a city.
It takes time.
But it got better. It started getting better. It took a while, though.
Right. When I dislocated, I re-injured my old injured shoulder. I get hurt a lot. That's the price of adventure. Sometimes you meet an ogre, right? But I actually re-injured it at the climbing gym just 2 days ago. But it's pretty good now. We're chill. But when I dislocated mine, that's an 8 to 10 week, 100% heal. Granted, I was kayaking 6 days later for work because me and my buddy, actually, it's Ian, the guy that lives here. Me and her, I hope she's not watching. It'd be really funny if she was. You never know. Woman follows me sometimes. But we told her I tweaked it. We didn't want her to know that I just fully dislocated it.
I got a bump.
Yeah. We had it all jimmy rigged, and my sweater is a sling, and I was trying to do a kayak roll. 2 or 3 different maneuvers all at once, and I fucked it entirely up and dislocated my shoulder. And both of my friends, him and his girlfriend, were about to go to New Zealand. By the way, to kayak guide for the winter time.
Sweet. Because
New Zealand's winter, we're in opposite hemisphere. Their winter is out of summer and vice versa. So this is about mid-October. I'm buckling in, about to have a terrible, very jobless winter that I wasn't totally aware of yet. It was my first season as a kayak guide. Didn't realize when they say season's over, it's really over. And nobody's going to come kayak for 3 months, 4 months. But either way, they were moving to New Zealand because they'd gotten jobs to kayak guide for New Zealand summer in Tauranga. And they were about to leave. And they broke me right before they left. and they left me as like one of the lead guides for my boss with like this recently dislocated shoulder, but it was fine. It buffed out.
You make me think of it. So you got the right stuff, man. It's like, you ever read that book by Tom Wolfe or seen the movie, The Right Stuff?
No.
It's about the Mercury astronauts, the original 7 astronauts, but also about Chuck Yeager, the guy who, broke the sound barrier.
I know.
In the movie, they show this story, but the book's really good. But it was that he was out of Edwards Air Force Base, and this would have been back like, man, what year did they break the sound barrier? Like I want to say like 1953, something like that. It's in the 50s. And 53 thereabouts, mid 50s, and so Edwards was like there was nothing out there, dude. It was just like airstrip and some shacks, more or less. And so they're out there living there, and I guess he had a horse riding act. He had to go out and ride his horse. He'd have a few drinks, go out and ride his horse, and he had his horse threw him or something, and he screwed up I think it was his shoulder or his elbow or something really bad. And he was supposed to fly the X1, the Bell X1, the next day. And he didn't want no one stealing his ride to break the sound barrier. So he talked with like the head mechanic or something, was a buddy of his. And he says, man, like, he's like, basically, okay, like I can only move my arm this far and I got to lift it to raise it. And it was something about the canopy latch. I think it was the canopy latch. You had to jam it a certain way to like slide a lock or something. And he said, I can't do it with my arm. My arm's screwed up, so I can't latch the canopy.
Yeah,
get it on or off. So the dude got like a broomstick and cut it. He rigged this, man. He got a broomstick, cut it to just the right length for him, hands it to him. He takes it in there. So he like had it up against his arm or something because he only moved his arm so far, and that extended it to where then he just shoved it and it took care of it. And it was just like that's how he ended up being the guy that broke the sound barrier because like he'd screwed his shoulder up or something out riding his horse. He's half drunk on whiskey, man. Got thrown by his horse or something out in the canyon.
That story does sound familiar.
Like the movie starts with it. The book doesn't. The movie, starts with it.
If he would have admitted that he was injured, they would have replaced him.
Are you hurt or are you injured?
Nope, I'm totally fine. Nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Don't mind me.
I'm bleeding out my ears, man, but I'm okay. I can do this. So.
Yeah, I think part of the famous story side of it is that he was injured. He knew it. He was like temporarily hurt, whether it's his ribs or his shoulder or both. But something happened to like one side of his body.
Yeah, he couldn't hit the latch right.
And he lied. He lied and told them that he was fine. But if he hadn't had done that, so he broke the sound barrier with like the fucked up arm or like broken ribs or whatever. But if he hadn't done that, then he would have been replaced, and then he
exactly. Yeah. I wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid, man. I should have done math. I should have done my math homework. I hated math, but I wanted to be an astronaut so bad. Like I had a scrapbook. My dad was in the Army.
They got Space Force. You still got time.
I can go to space camp. I went to after I saw you. I went to Huntsville. And I always wanted to go to the Space Museum there, go see the rockets. I'm a rocket nut. And two of my friends had gone there in the past year. So I was like, oh, man, that's it. I got to go. So I went, and that's where they have space camp at. And when I was a kid, like I think space camp started, I was like maybe in middle school. I was like 6th grade or something. And I wanted to go to space camp really bad. I never got to go to space camp. And so I'm talking with this lady there who works at the museum. And I said, man, this is like really cool being here. But I wish I could have gone to space camp. And she said they have a space camp for grownups. And that the oldest graduate is an 88-year-old woman. So I'm kind of like thinking,
nice.
All right, if an 88-year-old woman can handle this, then I'm sure I can do this.
You think you might could hack it?
Yeah, I'd love to live stream space camp.
She might be like some Jane Fonda type 88-year-old woman.
Could be. Because I just hate the G thing, man. Like space would be cool if there wasn't
G-Force.
Yeah, G-Force is just kind of. I never was into I like roller coasters and flumes. I'm not into the whirly-gig like G-Force rides.
I weirdly love those. Like the type where like you could like stand on the wall because there's
that one. You could get up. You were the guy that used to get upside down and freak everybody out, right? And then turn back around before you. Yeah.
I'm totally that dude. I'm that
guy.
I
might have done that once. I don't remember. I had a friend who did it. They might have talked me into it. I can't remember.
I'm that guy that looks over and goes, "Hey, babe, I didn't buckle my seatbelt," and she's like, "Oh my god, why do you always do this?" And like got my ponytail out like this, and like But I like spinny rides. Matter of fact, watching things like Apollo 13 and the movie Armageddon made me wish that I could jump on one of those machines and see how much G's I could take. And,
One of the most stressful-
given my ability to take bombs, I figure I probably could take quite a few G's.
One of the most stressful moments of my life, I mean, one of the weirdest, most stressful moments of my life was I used to be a youth group leader at a Presbyterian church here in town, like assistant leader, but I drove one of the church vans.
That's probably been a fun time.
We had them big, long stretch, like Ford Econoline on steroid vans, it has like a 4 row seats. Okay. So, so we had like, yeah, my friend who was the head youth group leader, she drove one, I drove the other, and she had the one, I had like the uncivilized church van. It was like, I'd tell myself, look, man, here's the deal. We're going to stop here and fill up for gas, and this has a big gas tank. And if you need to go or do anything, you need to do it now because I'm not stopping until we're under a quarter tank. Like, that's just how it's going to be. So, but they got to play whatever music they wanted, blah, 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 blah. And so we had the video thing in there. So we're driving. We were coming on I-95, coming back from Montreat, North Carolina. Or no, from Virginia, I think it was. Anyways, we're driving, and oh my God, we'd been on a mission service project up in Virginia, up in the mountains in Virginia for like a week. And I had like probably maybe 3 hours of sleep a night and then, hanging drywall and doing whatever, all week.
Gotcha.
And I was tired, and we're driving back, and I couldn't sleep the night before. I probably I'm not kidding. Like I was army tired, bro. I was like about 2 hours maybe. And now I got a van full of high school kids coming home, and I drank man, we stopped somewhere for gas, and I drank like a half a gallon of freaking Jiffy Store coffee and popped a couple of like caffeine pills or something. Like I shouldn't have been driving, but I had to drive, dude. And then the other lady driving, she missed the turn, and we ended up into Charlotte, North Carolina, dude. I was like on Vibrant and coffee from the Jiffy Store, and we ended up in Charlotte. I'm like, crap. Now we're totally out. Finally, we get our way down. We're down I-95. We're somewhere going into South Carolina, Georgia, and we basically hit like a freaking tropical storm or something. Like, I mean, the crosswind coming across the interstate was really hard. I mean, you could feel it on the van. You could feel it some. And these kids wanted to watch Armageddon. So they got Armageddon on, and I've got I can hear it. I can't see it, right? And I've never seen that movie yet, okay? Like, I'd never seen the movie. I saw it like first time maybe a couple weeks later. I'm kind of behind on movies sometimes. But it's like, so I've got the soundtrack and everything going on though, right? And I'm in this like basically a tropical storm, driving on no sleep, wired as shit on caffeine with like, I don't know, man, like 10 high school kids watching the end of the world. And all I'm thinking is like, Jesus, we're going to end up in a ditch and I've got church kids. Oh, can we watch The Sound of Music or something? Like, God, this music, like, and they're all like, oh shit, we've got 3 minutes till the earth ends. And I'm just like, can we watch like something like more mellow? Cause like, I'm just like, my teeth are gritting. I'm like,
you're all jacked up on fucking Mountain Dew.
Oh, Jesus, dude. Like, I've been in some, man, I've had guns on me. I've had things happen. But that was a very stressful couple of hours. That movie, I almost didn't want to. And they're like, you never seen it? I've never seen it yet. They go, dude, you got to see this. I said, yeah, I'm going to have to after this, man, because I'm going to need it to unwind. It's like a week later, I watched it. It was a good movie. But Jesus, man.
I mean, after watching that movie, I was like, I got what it takes to be an astronaut. I could do this. Like, I could totally animal cracker over like my chick's boobs to a soundtrack. Like, I could.
You ever see Space Cowboys? It was about like a bunch of old astronauts. Like James Garner was in it.
Clint Eastwood. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones, I think, is in it.
Tommy Lee Jones was in it. Yeah.
I saw that.
I remember, what was the one, like they come in, they bust on, they're doing the centrifuge, and the like head guy comes in and says, what are you guys doing? And it was like, what was it? Like, Tommy Lee Jones and Clint Eastwood were having a contest about who'd pass out at the most G's or something. And they're passing money over the control panel and
yeah. Actually, that might be the movie I'm thinking of when I talk about like watching and being like, man, I wonder how many G's I could take. Like, that looks like fun. I mean, I've passed out for all kinds of stupid reasons for on purpose. Like, I've got no issue passing out because of G-force. Like, I've had friends that had choked me out 8 times in a single night just because I was drunk and ornery. Not even kidding. My friend Steve, by the way, all of my Marine friends from back in the day, all these guys are like 200 pounds plus, which is perfect because I'm tiny and I was the angry, ornery one. So they would just frankly we got him by the scruff of the neck, just take your boys and go type attitude. But one night I was like super Riley and they took turns just laying on me. And eventually Steve was like, he choked me out like 8 times. And I would just wake up and keep fighting him. They're like, man, this little guy just got no quit, man.
Skinny guys fight till they're burger, man. Fight club, you know. Now, you remind me of Staff Sergeant Farrar, man. Where I work out at Orange Theory, right?
Farrar?
Upstairs is the Army recruiter office, like in our town. And so I got to meet Staff Sergeant Farrar, man. He's I think 75th Ranger Battalion. He does like all the operator contracts, you know, like if you're going through, if you're going to go, maybe jump schools in there, you know, jump school, Ranger school, 75th.
Airborne,
you know, whatever. Whatever. He's probably the one you talk to. And so anyways, when I did the Bone Frog race back last January, he was doing the, you know, like where you check your bag, you know what I mean? Your gym bag, whatever, your rucksack, you know. He was working in there. So I didn't recognize him. I actually talked to him. I didn't recognize him in his civvies. The only time I'd ever seen him was once before. He was heading home for the day. I was heading in to do my workout, and he was in his fatigues with this other dude, and I had a Baby Bop doll, you know, like Barney's girlfriend, the little green dinosaur, Baby Bop. Now, Barney and their Baby Bop.
I can't believe I remember that
doll, right?
Terrifying.
And I was kind of pet on him, like not like hardcore, you know, like he, you know, I was like, yo, dude, I'm sorry, man, that's Class A right there, you know, that's a sharp, man. And he's like, kind of looked for a second, and he realized he just knew right away I was a vet, and I was just busting his balls, and it was all cool. And then we kind of hit it off, and so anyway, so I see him, it's a few days later after the race. He says, yeah, man, come up and see me. But we were talking about it. He says, yeah, I saw you there, man. You were doing all right, man. He says, how old are you? I said, I was 56 then. I'm 57 now. He says, yeah, you're 57, man. You know, like I said, yeah, you know, I can still do a little shit, you know. But the thing with Farrar, I was gonna tell you, you remind me of him. Like Sergeant Farrar is probably like 5'9" and about maybe 160 soaking wet. You know, like if he was on full ruck and kit, it would be bigger than he is. You know what I mean? Like, but you know, like, but the dude's a Ranger, man. You know, he's got his shit tight. You know. But it's like, yeah, you know, like people see the Hollywood movies, and I'm not saying there aren't big guys out there, but yeah, it's not like he's hulking like professional wrestler looking Arnie guys like in you know, Predator or something.
So one of my favorite memories, I've got a lot of them, but this one's just so funny. So like I was a big PT stud. A lot of the guys, like my best friends, they got in shape hanging out with me for like 2 or 3 days out of the week. Like I lived to train. I frankly still live to train. I still train just all the freaking time. Something's got to be moving. Like something's always got to be moving around. Anyway, one of my favorite memories, I think we were at CAX. So we're at Mojave Viper. We're doing like the 45 days in Palm Springs, 29 stumps, training, basically pretending to be miserable in Afghanistan.
Operation Embrace the Suck.
Yeah, totes. Like you're literally just pretending you're at war with no actual bullets. So it's just all the suck and no death. And so I've got my full combat rattle on, and just like most I would say Marines, probably soldiers as well. My combat rattle is about 90 pounds total. 90 or 100 pounds, med kit, flak jacket, rifle, fucking Kevlar, like, you know, the whole 9 yards. Random ammo and bullshit they make me carry, ask me to carry, extra mortars, whatever. And there's this pull-up bar at one of the like role-playing camps. And again, I could do a lot of pull-ups. I couldn't do the most, but I could do an awful lot. I was very comfortable with them. And I want to do some pull-ups. All the guys are knocking out like 2 and 3, 5. I mean, again, we've got 100 pounds on us. And they're still doing, 5 pull-ups.
Dude, man, I wouldn't be able to do shit.
So,
not
dude,
now.
So the funny part is like, and they were like, "Hey, Doc, like, come on, man, like, come and shut your shit," because they all know I'm a PT. Like, I was a PT stud. I was into it. And so I get up there, and I couldn't jump high enough to get to the bar. Literally, 2 dudes had to lift me and put me on the bar, and I cranked out like 15 pull-ups. It was just, but I was that guy. I'm that little dude who's like got the bigger bag than he even weighs. But he's gonna beat you up that fucking hill. You're not gonna beat Doc up the hill. Probably not. It's unlikely. There's a handful of Marines that were faster, but the point is, out of like 200 people, there's only a handful that would usually beat me at a lot of that kind of crap. And all of them are like super badasses now. Like one of them is setting records at doing ultras. The other one was like, I think he's been out of it since he made a family, but he was doing like really, really badass fighting stuff in the MMA circuit. Like these guys are just monsters of men. So I don't mind that they used to surpass me at certain things. Some people consider me a monster of men. We'll see.
I'm just glad to be around, man. 57, man. My big thing, I think I'm getting past it a little bit now. Is let's see. I've been back at the gym it'll be 3 years in about a month. Actually, not quite a month. 2 days shy of a month. It'll be 3 years I've been there. But I only quit smoking like 7.5 years ago. I smoked like 30 freaking years. Yeah, I was just like a hard smoking, drinking, line cook, and then I ended up in college in my 30s, and then I was a hard smoking, hard drinking college student. Mm-hmm. But and I just have a few beers once in a while. But yeah, I quit cigarettes. It's been like it'll be 8 years in June, I think. And I've heard it's the hardest. Yeah,
I've heard it's the hardest thing to quit cigarettes.
Well, I did it over a woman. I quit over a woman. Basically, what happened? I quit. Yeah, I had this date with this woman, and I'd kind of like wanted to date her for a very long time, like probably since we were kids. And so, anyways, she says to me, like, we went to church because that's what you do in the South. First date, man, never hurts to go to church. First date.
Jesus Christ! I do not miss that life. I used to be like that.
I'm just saying, it's her choice. So, I'm like, all right. So we go.
Like you said, you were excited about this chick. You were super excited about it. So.
Yeah. And so she said there's this, I think, Thai restaurant or something that was across town, and she wanted to go to that. So we left. It was dark, and she said, yeah, man, I got one deal breaker. I said, what? She goes, cigarettes, man. I ain't gonna go out with no guy smoke cigarettes, and I know you smoke. And I had I had a pack of Marb Lights in a box, and I had one cigarette. And I looked at it, I said, look at this. I got one cigarette in here. I said, she said, yeah, but you buy another pack. I said, no, I won't. So we start driving. We're driving down Silver Springs Boulevard. That's kind of the main East-West Dragon town. So we're driving. She's in front of me in her car. And I'm smoking that last cigarette.
You smoked the last cigarette. I was wondering if you were smoking it.
And this is I think Boston, man. I remember, I think Boston was on
Boston.
But it's like, when I get there to the restaurant, and she says, yeah, I saw you smoking that cigarette in my rearview mirror. I said, I know you did. I said, look, box is empty. She says, yeah, you'll buy another pack, man. I said, no, I ain't going to do that. So we went in and ate. And anyways, I went like, Jesus, man, like 11 months, something like that. And I didn't have a single cigarette, cold turkey. Back in the day, no cigarettes. And then my dad died. It was right before Christmas, and a few days before Christmas. And I went back. I was teaching school that year, and I went back to teach school. And starting about a week or two after we went back to classes, so it was maybe 3 weeks after he died, I started smoking again. And I know it had to do with my dad dying. It's like a grief thing. I know it was. But I was just like, pissed me off is he chewed Red Man like his whole damn life. And he thought it was really cool I quit cigarettes and how I did, like he was just like, damn, that's badass.
He was impressed.
Yeah, he was very proud of me because he says, I know that wasn't easy, and I'm glad you did it because I don't want you, it's bad. Smoking's bad. And then I was thinking to myself, like, dang, man, if my dad knew that I basically started again because he died, he'd be so bummed. So I said, I got to quit for good. So I had this one girl I was teaching like 9th grade earth science and 10th grade biology. Got this 10th grade girl. She smoked, and I got her to quit cigarettes during the school year.
Cool.
And so she walked by me one day coming into class. She says, yo, Mr. A, man, I'm not trying to rag on you because like people knew my dad had died. I'd mentioned it or something in my classes when I came back to class or something. But since your dad died, and I'm sure it has to do with that. So I'm not trying to give you a hard time, but like I can tell you're smoking. I can smell it on you a little bit. I can tell. Like I don't think anyone else would know, but I can tell.
Right.
Yeah. And I feel bad, and I said, well, there's about like maybe 6 weeks left, and I'm gonna quit as soon as you guys are out for the year. And she's like, why you wait till then? I said, I don't care if I'm on the patch or not. You really want me like 3 days off cigarettes? Like, think about how's your class? She goes, man, we can be hard on you. I said, I know. And you're my easiest class out of 6. I go like, you do not want me off cigarettes for like 3 days, 4 days. So I'm gonna wait till you're gone, and then I'm gonna get on. And I did. So I had the next day I had to do shit. No students there. The next day I was done for the year. Took my ass that night to Walmart, got the patches, followed them religiously.
Mm-hmm.
Good. But so I like today, man. We did sprints today, lots of sprints, and I was back up. Like I wanted to get where I'm doing like 9 mile an hour. That's like I think like a 640 mile or something. We'll do up to about a minute. So, that's like what, maybe, I don't know, 300 meters.
9 miles an hour.
I'd like to ultimately get back up to where I'm doing like a base of like 6. They do like base push all out. So it's like base of 6, a push of 8, and an all out of 10. And what I like about that is that's a 10 mile, that's a 10-minute mile base pace, which is better than the airborne shuffle. And that's actually a 422 marathon. If you could do 10 miles an hour for 42 kilometers, that's a 422 marathon. And I will take that any day. That don't qualify you for Boston, but
It's not bad.
Buy me a beer when I'm done, because that wouldn't be too shabby.
It's not too
and
bad.
Then 8 miles an hour is a 730 mile. And then 10 miles an hour is a 6-minute mile. Like my best mile, I ran a 448 when I was like 18. First mile of a 2-mile fun run.
I don't know
my
fastest mile. I remember my fastest 3 mile in the Marines.
What was it?
17:19.
Was that like dirt track, quarter-mile dirt track kind of thing?
Let me remember. I think we run that in boots. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember at all. But it had been pavement. It was pavement. We definitely ran on pavement still. I can't remember I think it is PT gear. It's PT gear. It's not boots and utes. Boots and utes was all steel crap. PST at Buds and whatnot, like they make you do all that crap in boots and utes. But no, so this is pavement, and this is tennis shoes and shorts, silkies, Ranger panties. So yeah, but like my fastest was 17:19 3 mile, which is moving. Especially like you do the run last, so this is after you bust out.
That's under 6-minute mile. That's got to be, because like 18 minutes on 3 miles would be 6 minutes. So you add on 0.1 mile, but then you're taking on. Yeah, you'd have to be just under 6-minute mile.
Because a 5-minute mile,
5:55,
5-minute miles would be 15 minutes, and so you just add 1 minute to that, and it's 18. And I was at 17:19.
Yeah,
so that's probably like a 5-minute and 40-second mile or something like that.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
That was
cooking, dude.
It was cooking like that. I mean, I remember the number. It was my fastest 3 mile. I would usually do 20 pull-ups. I've always sucked at crunches. I probably would only get 75 crunches. I could do full-blown sit-ups. I could do all kinds of crazy shit, but I suck at crunches for some stupid reason.
The best I did on sit-ups in a PT test, it was coming out of A school. I shit you not, man. 2 minutes, I did 126 freaking sit-ups. Nice. I had a fucking core back then.
I think part of it, some people
I'm not bad, I guess, for a 57-year-old guy, but I was good at sit-ups. Push-ups, I could max it, you know what I mean? But push-ups was my weak one, but it wasn't like I was weak, like I couldn't pass. You know what I mean? I was weak, like I couldn't do like the equivalent of 126 sit-ups. You know what I mean?
For me,
usually on sit-ups in permanent party, I did around 80, something like that, 75 to 80. I'd get my 100 points on it, and that'd be it. Right. You know what I mean?
For me, sit-ups was my weaker one. Like I could always bust out pull-ups, bust out the run, bust out the swim, bust out the push-ups. And then sit-ups is always like, okay, like I know I'm not gonna, I'll do great, but I'm not gonna do max or anything super impressive.
Yeah, my when I got to boot, man, basic training, man, first time to run. Sergeant Hicks was there, and he's like, so we're on this quarter-mile dirt track, and that's what we're running on. And so our platoon's out. We got I think we were doing heats. I don't know, but anyways, it was my time to run. And we had this guy, Lance Wilgus, man. He's probably the one dude. He is the only dude I can think of, first name, last name, out of my basic training unit. Lance Wilgus, he's from New Jersey. And he was like, Wilgus was the guy I had to do a lot of push-ups. Because like, it got to where, like, whenever we had mail call, like drill sergeant, whoever was up there doing it, drill sergeant would not start giving out mail until Wilgus was in the front reading on the gravel next to him. By the like stoop going up in the barracks, you know?
Yeah.
And Wilgus got to where like they wouldn't even call him up, dude. He would just like
he would just do it.
He would just go up there, man. He just break you permission to break rank. Right ahead, Wilgus. He'd come up, man. And he'd just start doing push-ups, man. He wouldn't even wait for the command. And but Wilgus, man, we were running, and I never ran track in high school or nothing. I didn't think I was good enough, but I just ran. I used to go out and do 5Ks, 10Ks, and I'm actually a halfway decent runner, I guess. If I might have been better if I'd have been on the team, but anyways, I'm running, and oh man, one of the worst personal smokings I ever probably took was right after that run, because like I was running laps, and when I'm going by, man, I was calling for my splits from Sergeant Hicks. I was calling my splits.
Yeah.
And so he knew right away, man, okay, this guy can run. So
He's not fucking around.
Yeah, everybody else was like just in the dust. And Wilgus he had tried to keep up, and I dusted him going about the last lap or something, and so he's back a little ways, and I eased back, man, to help him pick up speed, right? Hicks saw that shit and busted on me. He says, don't you ever let up. Not even for another soul. Not like, no, man. Like, he busted on me. But the cool thing was we had, like, the annual, like, Fort Dix, New Jersey, where I was at. They have, like, the annual post 5K or whatever, came up during our cycle. So it was on Saturday. So they're like, hey, guess what, man? On top of everything else, we're going to go run this 5K. Right. And Sergeant Hicks, there was me and this one other guy. Shit, man, it was just in the company. It was me. There's another guy who was from another platoon. I remember what he looked like, but I can't remember his name. Hicks said to us, like, we had brought our own running shoes. I had some nice Nikes. He said, look, go over to the PX. It's just like, we go, like, we'll get our hair rebuzzed and shit. Mm-hmm. He says, like, go over there and get what you need, man. Like, because you and this dude, like, they had to run it in formation, right? And we had them old like gym class PT shorts that were like cotton or whatever, the old school. No, man, we would have got the good shit, man. Back then, we like sub 4. I remember I got a sub 4 singlet, sub 4 shorts. Yeah. And he said, you guys are just gonna run, just run. And that was actually, I don't remember my
Forrest Gump type shit. Just run.
I mean, I didn't place, man. There's like 70 zillion people. It's a military base running a 5K. But the best part was, like, I wasn't having a running formation. Me and that dude, we ran together for about 1.5 miles, and then I got up ahead of him, and I beat him by about 16 seconds. I remember that. It was about 16 seconds. I had just enough time to stop, turn around, and, cheer him in. Mm-hmm. And then our unit got in like minutes behind, and they were just, calling cadence. Right. And that was like the freest. I missed all the way through boot camp, all the way through, because I was just out there. It was like being back home, man. And I was just running. Didn't have to call cadence. Didn't have to do shit. I just got to run.
Right. It is.
I don't remember my time. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It was. I want to say it was something like about an 1842, but it was because I started. Like, we were back like with our unit, and we had to like run up through a lot of people. I remember that. I remember the first probably half mile, definitely even. Like, it had to thin out. I remember that. We weren't up near the front. Like, that would have took a minute off my time easy on top of everything else. But we had to sort of weave and do shit, and that was, it took us a while to get up to speed. But I think it was something like an 1842 or something. And then he was like about 16, 17 seconds behind me. And that was just, man, that was great. That was fun. Yeah.
We should do one of the races sometime. We should do like a Spartan or a Tough Mudder or a Bone Frog or something.
I'd like to do a trifecta next year. I didn't do any of these virtual races. I took a real road trip instead. But
yeah, I did the same.
I would like to do a trifecta, man. I have to say, in a way, this idea that you have to do it in one calendar year to officially trifecta, I think that's kind of a marketing gimmick in a way. It's also a motivator, and like, it would be real easy to say you get 2 under your belt. I'm gonna get that last one, and kind of a year goes by, and a year goes by, and a year goes by.
So is the trifecta basically doing one of each?
Yeah. You do the sprint, like I did this one in January, the sprint, and then you do, what's the next one called? It starts with S. Super, and it's kind of like their 10K, and then the half marathon one is the Beast. Yeah. And then there's one that's like, then there's like the I don't know if they still do the death race, but they have like the.
They have it's like a 24-hour thing. They have the categories of the different types of races.
Yeah, you can you don't have to do the Beast. You could do like the 24-hour, but most people, they do the Sprint, Super, and the Beast in a year. You get the trifecta. That would be cool. I mean, if I did it in like 13 months, I wouldn't cry over it. I'd get my stickers for my.
That'd be cool.
Tour.
That buddy of mine that I mentioned that was one of the guys that like I would probably beat him at half a handful of things, but he'd beat me at the other handful for sure. The guy that's breaking
records. Beat my ass all over that course. I'm not lying. There was nothing. I don't even know what my time was. I don't even care.
The one time I did Tough Mudder, it was back in 2012. It was right after I got out of the Corps.
That's about the time it first started, right?
Ish. It was kind of newer, definitely. Yeah. But they already had World's Toughest though. They had the 24-hour race going already. To qualify, you just got to get top 5%. Top 5% of the finishers can qualify for World's Toughest Mudder, which is a 24-hour race for like 10 grand.
Yeah, I met a woman who ran in that at the Spartan race.
Oh, my buddy Trevor has won it. He's podiumed 3 times, and he's won it.
They have it at a different place every year, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because she went. She went last year. It was in Texas somewhere, I think, because she had her shirt on from it. I saw her before the race. I think it was before our race.
They always do it somewhere different. I remember qualifying that one time I did it. And I ended up not doing it, but like I wanted to get back into it. And part of the fun for me is, I mean, I know Trevor has plenty of, he's a world-class athlete. He's got plenty of competition, but I've always thought like, he keeps winning these things. I want to give him one more person to have to beat. Like, all right, Bubba, if you want to beat this, he's been my squad leader in Afghanistan. It's like, if you want this race, you're going to have to beat my crazy psychopathic little ass. Like, I'm right behind you, bro. You can't let up yet. You can't quit because I'll pass you.
Stay in a blind spot where you can just hear you breathe a little bit once in a while.
It'll be my $10,000 scuba trip, not yours. But yeah, he does it every year, and he's podiumed 3 times.
Wow.
And so he's gotten all 3 different places. So he's gotten first place, he's gotten second place, and he's gotten third place. Generally speaking. Everybody that wins one of those, they run usually over 100 miles in 24 hours. Like one of his winnings.
How far can you go in 24 hours, right?
Roughly about 119 miles or 115 is usually where the winner is at. He set the fastest known time.
What's this guy's name?
Trevor Psychos.
Like Psycho?
Like Psycho, but it's his real last name. It's spelled with a C though, like CIC, like OZ, Psychos. It's like CIC HOZ.
You ain't gonna beat a guy like got a name like Psychos,
dude. I remember my favorite story because a lot of the guys follow him. A lot of them follow me. They love our adventures. We do different things. He tends to race. I tend to just do extreme long distance. It's slightly different. We end up in similar shape, I bet, but it's different. So different guys, frankly, probably a lot of the same guys follow both of us. But my favorite story, because a lot of people will tell me, dude, you don't experience shit the same way I do. I know you don't. I see you run. I see you do this. We've watched you, like I did, like Sniper Recon and or Sniper Indoc rather. And I was just smoke checking a lot of these really badass Marines. And people are just like, your shit doesn't work like everybody else's. Like you've got unrealistic endurance. And then people look at Trevor and say the same shit. And so the funny thing, so me and him used to be on the same squad. He was the squad leader.
Saying like he thinks different than you about it? Is that what you were just saying?
Oh no, like maybe our bodies experience it different than regular people. Like maybe we have reduced lactic acid buildup or production or something. Because a lot of people have just been like, it doesn't make sense what some of you guys do. Basically, just athlete shit. Like Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps does, like the world-class swimmer, he doesn't get lactic acid buildup. That's one reason he is so victorious. Wow. His body just doesn't do it.
So he's not feeling that burn, man. It's not like limiting, not shortening his reach, and
he'll get tired. He'll get tired, but it doesn't build up and shut him down. Right. Alex Honnold, the famous climber. Alex Honnold has some type of on the spectrum brain thing.
That's the dude that did the free solo. Free solo. Oh yeah, that guy. I'd like to meet him. Yeah.
So Alex Honnold has like a broken fear factor. His fear, and the only like this isn't. It doesn't mean anybody without a fear factor is going to climb El Cap. No, but it assists him in thinking clearly when he could die if he fucks up. And that's one of the reasons that they think, okay, that's why he's so good at this. It's one of his tools to be so good at this. So, there's plenty of people that are wired however Trevor is, however
when he's on the face, he's got a heightened state of awareness, but he doesn't give a shit at the same time.
No panic, zero panic.
Right.
He's like a toddler when it comes to being afraid of like death or something. He doesn't experience panic like a normal person would. And people say that helps him do the things that he does. Right. So either way, I've definitely had friends make that kind of comparison and be like, no, man, like there's something going on with your shit. I've tried to race with you. I've tried to do this with you. And no matter how much I train, you could do no training and smoke me after I trained for a year. It's bullshit. Which I do experience with people. So my whole point, the story with me and Trevor, we're on this patrol. It's the heat of the day in Afghanistan. It's probably 130 degrees outside. It is probably either late June or early July. It's just cooking. And he maps us out a 12-mile patrol. Long fucking day in the heat of the day. And I remember I think it was just a security mission. I don't think we had anything particularly going on. We go out to this village 6 miles away, we turn around and we come back. And I remember by the time we were coming back, my water was so hot I couldn't drink it. It was too hot to drink.
You could make coffee out of it. You could make
tea. Yeah. You could sit there and you can make top ramen out of it in 15 minutes. Like this shit was practically boiling in the damn Camelback and in our bottles and everything. And you know, I was feeling it. I was hot. I'm known as like a camel when it comes to water and temperatures. I tend to do very well in the heat. My longest single day with a pack on was like 40 miles in the desert. Yeah, like on the PCT, like I did 40 miles.
That was what I was thinking of right away. I thought like, no, wait a minute, that sounds like, I mean, that could be, is he talking about Afghanistan or the southern end of the PCT?
Southern half.
You do got to put in some long. I've never done the PCT, but you got to do some long, hot miles, a lot of water.
My average is probably between 27 and 32 miles a day. The kind of fastest, I did 700 miles in 32 days through the desert.
What were you doing up in Maine a couple months ago a day? Once you got in, say about the first weekend.
Only about 20 a day. It's significantly like it's been interesting comparing the kind of the AT and the PCT.
They're graded differently. I heard you can do like way more miles there. Something about the less heat, lower humidity. So graded or something.
Maybe on the overall AT, you could probably do longer miles easier. The first 400 miles and the last 400. So one of the 400s that I did was. It's all cut and paste, man. Like it's a lot of like scrambling over rock that just eats time.
You talking about on the AT, the first part? You're talking about up through Georgia and then down from Maine.
Georgia into Virginia is supposed to be pretty rough, and then from Maine down through the White Mountains is supposed to be pretty rough.
Yeah. Because when I hiked the part I hiked with my friend Carrie, who did the whole, she's a through hiker.
Right.
Was like I just did like Delaware Water Gap up to Hanover.
Right,
the Delaware to Dartmouth hike is what I call it. But it was about just under 500. You throw in hiking into towns, it's basically a 500-mile hike. And that's it. I mean, that's not like the most difficult part of the AT by any means, It was kind of hot, but not like, obviously not like 130 degrees. But like down in Georgia, think about the AT, it's like you gotta like, man, like sometimes they just like there's a pile of rocks and they can blaze the trail around the pile of rocks and they have it over the pile of rocks.
Right. So
all the roots and it's a rough trail.
It was this huge comparison the entire time I was on it. Whenever somebody would hear I did the PCT before, they were always, which one do you think's harder? Just, which is kind of silly to me. Like they have the entirely different cultures. The
I think
trails
like
themselves
apples
are
and
very
oranges. I mean, just the trail, the length,
It
the
is.
weather conditions, the
It is
trail
apples and oranges.
conditions,
It's an
how
entirely
you
apples and oranges
logistics.
conversation.
Like on the AT, there's parts you might go, man, maybe even 5, 6 days, 7 days, maybe 7 days here or there, without getting to a town or someplace you could resupply somewhat. Some places like almost every day you're going to a town, right? Like up in New England,
Right.
every day or every other day. So like out there, even when you get to a point where you could get to a town, that town still might be way off. Sure. I mean, it's like a more remote trail overall, right?
PCT tends to be more logistically challenging. AT is more logistically easy, but then the grades on the AT tend to suck more. The PCT uses a lot more switchbacks and whatnot. How I described it to people is that the PCT was a more enjoyable trail. I thought so. So I don't really care which one's harder or not. Like the PCT goes through 5 different biomes, whereas the AT kind of goes through 2. You've got green tunnel and you've got mountains.
The green tunnel. I'm telling you, man, it's like you hike all day, man. And sometimes you see something out off the top, like, oh, there's a world out there, and then you're back in the green tunnel.
And so it's like they're entirely different trails. But the one observation that I was using for people to give them an answer was that in my experience, the PCT was more enjoyable than the AT. They're both hard. They both take pretty massive cojones. They both will get you in shape. You're gonna get hot and cold on both. Like,
and the AT, man, reminds me like being in the military. Well, like when you think of the military, your generation, you're thinking like the Middle East, man. So it's like hot,
totally
and brown, and like when I was in, it was still like a friend of mine called it like the green arm, like old BDUs that we were in Europe or we were wherever, but like the desert warfare was sort of this thing you heard about, like when you watched the movie Patton in the beginning, right? And it involved tanks, you know what I mean? Rommel and Africa Corps and shit. And but like the AT, man, they're hiking, dude. You just get like wet and you just stay wet. Yeah. And that when I think of that, man, to me that was like in the middle, like in Germany, man, like mud season. Friend was like, "What's mud season?" I go, "It's mud season, dude. Like May. May is brought to you by the letter M. And the letter for May and for mud. And there's not an M in Grafenwehr, but there's a lot of mud there in May. I hear you. It's just some nasty shit. I sank a Jeep, man, in a mud puddle. I had an LT, man. We were going up along kind of by the East German border on this field problem. Anyways, he wanted to get to like point Y quicker than I was. I was short, and so they had me driving this LT around between commo sites. And so we go up this one way, and I said, I think we should go this other way because this puddle looks deceptive. Like, you should know it just because it looks like it's passable. Sometimes they're not. And he's like, no. And basically, he's like, I order you to go across this puddle because we want to get there. Like, it's 10 minutes away, and the way you want to go is going to take like 30 minutes. We got in the middle of it, and we just sank, dude. Like, I had how deep? I was like, I don't know, man. Like the left side, my side started sinking, and I actually had like water and mud coming in over the gunnel of the Jeep. And finally, like we were stuck there, dude. Like we were stuck. And not too long, like maybe 20 minutes. 5-ton came by, and a 5-ton pulled us out, and they had a time doing it, man. Like there was like a vacuum had been caused in the mud or something. And when that Jeep came out, though, it was just gross. I mean, it was just I was shoveling mud out of the Jeep.
It was a mud-covered Jeep.
Oh, my God, man. And my other favorite Jeep story, one time I was driving a section chief. I forget, we were going somewhere, but we had to go up this mountain. It was at night. And it was a bunch of switchbacks. We were like basically driving up this goat trail. Yeah, that's when I was in Germany, man. And so we're driving up there. I don't know why I was even driving. That wasn't even my job normally to be driving around. Sure. But that particular time I was. And so we're driving up there. And so this guy, what was his name? I can't think of it now, but he was a pretty cool E6 from Philadelphia. And he said something, man, I want to hurry up and get up there, man, because like I want to get some coffee or something. He's like, look, man, like he said, he's called me Redneck Boy because I was a white guy from Florida. He'd say Redneck Boy because he was black. He'd say, Redneck Boy, man. Come on, man. You're in a Jeep, man. I know about you. I've seen the Dukes of Hazzard, man. Just take this thing up the hill. I'm like, you really want me to do that? It's like, yeah. I said, okay. So we just like, we started up. And I mean, and Jeeps will flip easy. I about flipped that thing 3 times, man. Like we almost just fell back over. I mean, he was freaking out, dude. He about shit himself. I almost shit him. I almost shit myself. A couple times. We got up there and he just said to me, he was like, "Look, man, the next time I tell you to do something like that, consider it like an unlawful order or something. Don't do it. Like the next time I tell you to get me up the hill that way, just stay on the road." And
at least it would have been a good time to shit yourself. Nobody would have been able to tell.
It was the funnest thing I think I ever did, though, in a Jeep in my life or in any vehicle. Getting up there, it was fun.
Right.
It was like we were bouncing around, and I was just like, "Is everything still inside, man?" We hit a rock one time. So I thought we were gonna flip over. It was a lot of fun. I've been out in the field, man, a couple of weeks. I did not give a shit at that point, man. I was just kind of like, "Come on, man." And I was short too. I was like about, I don't know, man. Like we had a big reforger exercise. I didn't have to go. I remember I was clearing it. It was like maybe like 4 weeks before I was leaving country or something. So I did not give a shit. I was just like, let's just get up this damn hill. I don't care.
Right.
Oh yeah. And then one other Jeep story. I'm just like old, Jeep Army, but I had Jeeps. I had steel pots. When I went in, we had steel pot. When I got out, we had Kevlar. When I went in, we had sea rats. When I got out, we had
steel pots.
Yeah, man, steel pots, man. They were all right too. You can do a lot of shit with a steel pot you can't do with a Kevlar helmet. I know Kevlar can stop a bullet better and it's shaped better or something.
Kevlar stops a bullet better, but you can't cook anything in a Kevlar.
You can beat the shit out of somebody with a steel pot too, man.
I would imagine you beat the shit out of somebody with a Kevlar too. But
yeah, but I remember they were telling us it was something too. Was or like steel pot. If you were to break it, which you kind of can't, you could run it over with a tank or something. But it didn't cost much. I don't know what the actual pot was, like $25. I don't know. But Kevlar is one thing, the whole webbing and all. You don't have like the soft helmet in there and the liner. And they told us something. It was like, yeah, this thing will stop a bullet, but don't drop it on concrete because it'll crack.
Jesus. Yeah,
they were telling us that. It was some crazy thing like that. We were like, what? And it was like $300. Like if you screwed up your freaking helmet, man, it was like $300, that's money in like the 1980s, by the way. So that wouldn't be $300 now. That'd be like, I don't know, $600 now or something. It'd be some money. But it was like, yeah, it was really weird. There was something like that. Yeah, man, this is your Kevlar helmet. It'll stop a bullet better than a steel pot, but don't drop it. We're just like,
yeah,
it's like, okay, goddamn Army. Like
Kevlar was definitely like that. Like you could crack your helmet dropping it. And I have kind of an idea and a theory on why that works that way. And also our SAPI plate, like our SAPI plates that actually go on our armor, those are the same way. Like if you dropped them, it could compromise the damn SAPI plate. But so the way that these things are designed is kind of like cars are designed now. It's designed to crunch. That's part of the way that it's supposed to save.
Yeah.
So like SAPI plates are ceramic, generally speaking. So yeah, that ceramic can, like, they're rated to take 3 7.62 rounds into the SAPI and potentially save you.
Wow.
It's compromised after 3 7.62 rounds, and like it's no longer rated to save you. That fourth one probably gonna fucking suck. But either way, and you're gonna have to get them replaced though. That SAPI did its job. It is now compromised. You need a new ceramic plate. Kevlar, I believe, works the same way with the Kevlar helmets. The idea is it will stop a round, and they're very effective. Like I know people that have been shot in the helmet and are alive from my first deployment in 2009. But the idea is that like it hits, it deflects around, but the bullet's now the helmet's now compromised. You got to get a new one. It's a one shot, so it's kind of like porcelain or ceramics that way, where it's got extreme absorption power, and it's got a very good ability to kind of spread that force around to where it doesn't penetrate and kill you. But it's good that one time. That one time it saved your life. Now you need a new one. It's not like a quote unquote steel pot or something like
right.
It's not plate mail armor. You can hit me all fucking day. You're not going to get your sword through my plate mail.
I ain't gonna lie though, man. Like I was watching The Hurt Locker last night, you know, and the thing is funny, man. Is anytime I see a movie that has to do with, say, the military, and when did Brown Boots come out, man? They got rid of the black. What year was that? Like we're talking 2004, 6, 10. Whenever they went to like the brown brush boots, every time I see those, I just think, damn, man, y'all never had to do the Kiwi thing, man. Like Shining Boots, I had a love-hate relationship with because Shining Boots was like on one hand it sucked, but on the other hand it was kind of cool because I can remember 2 or 3 times specifically where I was sitting around, with maybe a couple other guys in the barracks, right?
Right.
There's one time I remember in boot camp, and there's one time I specifically remember in Germany, and there's one time I specifically remember when I was with 4th ID in Colorado. The individuals where we were sitting around like Shining Boots like on Sunday night or something and just having a good old time though, man. Like just shooting the shit and had some good tunes on and having a beer and do. But basically it sucked, and every time I see, like I saw her, like the show close up, like the dude's like, okay, so like basically, okay, in the beginning of the movie, right, they go in that way, okay, they're going in, they're securing the area, EOD comes in, and they're showing all the shit on the street, right? And how, there could be like tripwires and whatever, right? Okay, so they're showing the close-ups, and so they're like creeping with their boots and like, okay, brush off like this piece of paper or whatever, right? Okay, so anybody else be watching the movie would be going like, oh man, I hope they don't like blow their shit up, All I'm looking at is going,
you're looking at their boots.
That bro never had to shine a pair of damn boots, man. He never got a gig, man, for having like his boots messed up.
So,
and every guy that was ever in the military when I was probably does the same thing whenever there's something like that.
So, right. Our combat boots, we didn't have to brush, or we didn't have to polish, rather. The only experiences I had with boot polish was, of course, boot camp. They made us shine shoes. Kiwi, like I can picture the red and gold and black logo. Like I know what you're talking about.
So at Buds, man, you were wearing boots. So you had to keep those polished up, right?
And at Buds, we had we had the old school, because we didn't wear.
Yeah, you had like the old like Brogans, basically, right?
We wore old Jungle Boots. You know Jungle Boots?
Oh yeah.
They got the green canvas.
I had some.
So yeah, we wore Jungle Boots for our dress boots. And then we didn't shine our workout boots, but you could buy these ultra light, frankly, very sexy boots that you could shine either one. But we shined the Jungle Boots for our inspections.
Yeah, I couldn't even conceive of how the hell you would like go out and do like say surf torture for hours and hours and hours out in that water.
Yeah,
and then like have to shine those boots. That's all. Like how you couldn't even. They would be unshinable.
I remember going through a pair of boots kind of every 3 weeks or a month. You had to go. It was very similar to the PCT or something. Like about once a month, you're kind of looking at a new pair of shoes because they were super lightweight. They're this like really sexy combat boot.
What was the brand? What was the model?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't remember.
I'd like to know, man.
I don't remember. I know what I wore in the Marines. I don't remember what boot that was that we would buy in Buds, but it was an aftermarket boot. Like you could wear their bullshit, or you could go and spend like $60. Right. Not even that expensive. $60 or $70. And you could buy this ultralight, very like good sprinting, soft boot. And it would wear out. Like I said, 3 weeks, it's done. The tread's fucked. Everything's fucked. But you know what? You didn't get that ITB just as bad as that guy did. Your knees aren't as fucked up. Your muscles aren't working as hard as the guys wearing the heavier boots. Like it paid off.
Because good gear. What's that saying? Like in backpacking, what is it like? Like your foot gear. What your foot gear weighs is more important than what your pack weighs. Basically, like what was like an ounce on your back is like an ounce on your foot. It's probably 5 ounces on your back or something.
Probably like an ounce on your foot's like a pound on your back. Is probably
something like that.
It's probably close to what they say.
Like if you got heavy boots and you had a light pack, you'd be better off having like a heavier pack and lighter boots.
Yeah, because you can handle. You can notice a pound. If I put a pound of water, if I put like a liter, like a pound and a half on your backpack, you'll feel it. And when I take it off, you'll feel it. Especially if you get very accustomed,
pounds, man.
Especially if you get very accustomed to that bag. You put 3 liters versus 1 liter, you're gonna notice. real obvious. Like, man, my pack feels heavy. I don't like it. But like your footwear is like that with ounces. Some people that are really hardcore are like that with their trekking poles. I am not one of those people. I like death-defying sword-style trekking poles. They are. I literally buy these $50. They're Montum ultra durable trekking poles, but they are. Guess how many pairs I've had?
How many? Wow, $50
for $50. You can Google them right now. They're called like ultra durable trekking poles, and Montum makes them for like $50. I think they're 17 ounces each, which makes some people just freak out because they're a pound each. Well, guess what, motherfucker? I've never replaced them. They have seen literally thousands of miles. They've been on the PCT twice. They've been on the AT. They did the entire CT. They've been to Africa. They did Kilimanjaro.
You climbed Kilimanjaro, dude. That's a badass, man.
The list of what these fucking $50 aluminum poles have done is just endless.
Oh man!
And all I got to do is replace the tips, but just the tip.
Because you have like footwear. I'm kind of a minimalist at heart, basically, and so I got too many shoes, man. I got it's been bugging me like in the back of my mind for like months, man. I'm like, I got too many shoes. I got like 9 pairs of shoes, man. I don't know what I'm doing with all these shoes. So but they're all in like good shape, So it's like I don't really want to get rid of them. And one of them though is I realized I got a pair of black Speed Cross 5 Salomon Speed Crosses. I got them for the Spartan race last year. Okay. So I run in them now. I got a pair of Ons that are like my sort of road running shoes. And they're getting a little old, and I haven't been wearing them lately. I like wearing my Speed Crosses. And then I realized the other day, I was like, and they're black, dude. I'm 57. I can wear these for like dress shoes now if I want.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Be like the old guy going, like, you don't mess with the old dude like they got like the Velcro strap black Walmart tennis shoes on with his suit.
Right.
You go like, he's an old dude, man. Maybe he's humping a ruck across Africa with Pat.
He can do it. He can do whatever he wants, right?
Exactly. And I'm like, well, I'm not 57, dude. If I want to wear these, I can wear them. So it's like I was like, I realized the other day I had 3 pairs of shoes sitting by my bed. I cleaned my room, and I had my flip flops. Which are kind of like a dress flip flop, I guess you would say. I had my Chacos, and I had my Speed Crosses, and I thought, that's all the shoes I need, man. But then I was like, dude, I got my hiking boots. I got a pair of Oboz hiking boots, and I like them, but I hardly ever wear them because I'm not really a hiking boot guy. Because those Speed Cross, I climbed Mount Elbrus. I realized I like Speed. Like if Salomon wanted to give me money for my show, I would plug them because those are some great shoes, and they're about $140 maybe. And I guess if you wore them a lot, you'd wear them down. But they'd be worth getting a few pair a year.
That's what I wear for anything. That's what I pay for the one shoe I frankly buy.
They'd be a great hiking shoe.
The shoe I'm wearing right fucking now. These things right here, La Sportiva Ultra Raptors. There we go. Like, it's a $140 shoe. I can do 700 miles in them generally before having to replace them. It's funny when that's how much mileage you can get out of a shoe. Because I've bought that many pairs of them. Yeah,
I got a pair of Oboz hiking shoes. I can't remember the model. They're pretty good. But I
climbed Kilimanjaro in these shoes.
Wow.
I don't do not this pair. But
as you say, they last a while, man.
These are the ones that I had this year on the AT. I bought them brand new. But I mean, they're my everyday shoes. I work in them usually. They're my normal shoe for everything. But my point, I don't do hiking boots now. I don't do boots.
Yeah.
There's this huge trend these days for long distance backpackers, marathoners. Everybody's doing trail runners now. Most people don't do the hiking boots. Some people do. Most people don't. And the arguments that they end up being better on your feet, and of course they're worse on your ankles, but you also develop stronger ankles. If you train in them, you develop stronger ankles. It's funny I say that. If my hiking partner, this guy named Woodstock from this year, if he was watching this, he's a 7-year 7-year Air Force enlisted and 7-year Air Force officer. Badass dude, awesome guy.
He's a Mustang, man, the best kind of officer.
He was rad. I loved him to death. We were like brothers by the end of that. We did all of Maine together for sure, and then we separated in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. But we were fucking close. We camped almost every single night.
One video I remember that y'all made, man. You must have been up in Maine, man. You jumped into a lake. And all I could think about was that water had to be cold as shit, dude.
You know what?
I was tucked into bed. I was just about to go to sleep, I think, or something when I thought. And I was like, oh, hell no, I wouldn't be getting out of bed and jumping that. Hell no. You know. That's actually what would have killed me at Bud's. That's what would have killed me at Bud's is the water temperature, man. I hate cold water, man. I was in the water up in Northern California at the beach. Mm-hmm. I went out and did some. And I was thinking, was like, oh my God, I could not handle being out in this crap for like 16 hours a day. Oh,
a lot of people underestimate how much the cold water gets to you. The cold gets to you. I remember they used to love. I have this joke, and anybody that hangs out with me in the outdoors will hear it. For one, I call Sun Old Sparky, like the sun. I'll call it Old Sparky. That I made up. What I didn't make up is praise the sun. I'll always joke about it being the great provider and also like the great like life taker, life giver. I make all those jokes in Bud's. So praise the sun didn't come from Bud's, but the concept did. Most mornings, many mornings, they would march us out at 4 a.m. to hit the fucking beach. We are in boots and utes and t-shirts.
Go get wet and sandy.
Sometimes they wouldn't even make us get sandy, but they'd want you to get wet. And we watch the sunrise at the position of attention with the wind just whipping at us. You are jackhammer shivering by the time they're done. Because basically, it's still fucking dark outside.
Right.
Yeah. They want you to go dip in this 50-degree water on a good day. I was there from November until February. Water was damned cold.
Because even in the summer, it's what, about 55?
Maybe it was on a good day. It was probably high 40s, low 50s when I was there.
Yeah. Wow.
And of course, we know the coastal winters. That wind is chilly.
Right. Right. And right at dawn too, it starts to pick up a little bit.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Yeah. What I like, they would do this maybe 2 or 3 nights a week, where you would go out there at like 4 a.m. and you would get wet. It's still dark, and you watch the sunrise on the beach, position of attention, and the wind dries you off. But Jesus fucking Christ, are you so cold? And they sit there and like the SEALs they're doing all these like interesting speeches. You know, they do a lot of talking. The SEALs during that time they do a lot of talking. Like this phase, the first phase.
Is it like not like shit talking, but it's like indoctrination or like motivational type thing, or is it just bullshit? You know how like sometimes they just talk bullshit at you, like it's
a little bit of both. It depends on their mood. Depends if their wife was mad at them today or not.
Right.
But like early in the day like that, no. Usually it was like they're giving you tools. If you listen, they're usually giving you tools because they'll say shit like, "You know how you feeling right now? If you're not loving that, maybe this ain't for you." Me, I loved this every.
So like if you're in the zone, it's gonna motivate you further. If you're on the edge of ringing the bell,
it'll beat you down.
It's fucking with your head, man. Yeah.
But no, they definitely they said motivational shit and they fucked with you like a GI, like a DI would, like a hat. They did both. So that every Bud's class has what they call a proctor. Your proctor is basically your dad. He looks out for you. If an instructor was too hard on you, he's the guy that's going to check that dude. Where it's like, hey, back the fuck off. Like, I think he's had enough. That's very, very rare. Most of them are very professional and don't cross that line. I've heard of them crossing the lines. I didn't see it too much on my end, but I've heard about it from guys that were ahead of me. Either way. But I remember like one of the cooler things I ever heard at Bud's, and I remember it to this day. So SO1 Stone, Instructor Stone, was my proctor for my NDoc. And I was an NDoc for a while because we didn't class up for a long time. But either way,
what the first 3 weeks or something like that, thereabouts.
NDoc is 3 weeks,
and then you start like day one.
And then you start first phase. Yeah,
right.
Okay. Yep. And then that first week is a fucking ringer. Daily tests, daily bullshit. Most people don't make it past the first week or two. Most people. They'll cut that class in half by the second, third week of buds, and then fourth week is hell week, and then the class drops to like 30 people from 300. They trim out 200 people in like 3 weeks.
I was at Orange Theory once. They do like different promo things, and I guess they're motivational things, whatever. They have like a month where you got to run so many miles. It's like marathon month or something.
Sure. Yeah.
Whatever. They have Hell Week every year, and like I was. Like I know it's like after my workout the other day, we're stretching or something, and so they talk about I start next week's Hell Week, and there's some pretty intense workouts. They got some early ones this year, so I've actually got 3 of mine racked up already. But it's like I looked at it, I go like, dude, man, he's like I got 2. You get a T-shirt if you do it, so I got 2 of them in the last 2 years, but I never wear them, and it's like people like you caused me to be why because like I was joking with this guy, the trainer. I said, yo, man, I got this buddy, man, and he actually was at Buds, and I'm thinking like, okay, this is great. Do all these workouts this week, but how about if we only get like 4 hours of sleep while we do it? And he's just like, yo, well, you go ahead and get 4 hours of sleep.
Oh, and by the way,
it's hard for me. On one hand, like I want the T-shirt because it is a good. I mean, it's good workout.
Yeah.
But at the same time, man, calling something Hell Week to me is hard because when I automatically think Hell Week, I think of Buds. And
correct.
So I think, and I've known people that have done Buds. I've known a couple of operators, and
sure.
I just out of respect, man, it would be like if I was, I couldn't call it that. You know what I mean?
A great example. I encountered that even on the other podcasts that I did. I think that you heard it as well, but early on, they were really focused on Buds and the SEAL times. That early on training and selection stuff that I did before I was a corpsman. And one of the guys did water polo in high school, and he had a Hell Week from high school with water polo. And here, when he said it, my mind did the same thing. I was like, "What is he saying? He went to Hell Week? Like he wasn't at Buds." And then I was like, "Oh, fucking other people use that term. It's not the Buds Hell Week." Blah blah blah.
Or like Hell Week when you join a frat,
Sure. Yeah. I've always thought that was.
We're gonna dump goo on your head.
I always thought that was a darling thing.
If I didn't paddle your ass
when I was at Berkeley, I'd have liked that probably. When I was at Berkeley, I thought about joining a frat. If I didn't have the veteran, we basically had a frat, like the Cal Veterans Group at Berkeley. They call Berkeley Cal. At UC Berkeley, our veterans group's actually surprisingly strong.
So you went to Berkeley after you discharged, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You were a vet when you got there. Yeah. Going to school, you're a vet. Like I was in a vet group where I was at in college, but like my profs all knew I was a vet, and I was a little older too. I was in my 30s, and like one of my main profs, he was a veteran. Also, he was in for it was either Army or Navy for like 3-4 years.
None of my profs are veterans.
I can totally tell, like. Oh yeah, he went to college on his GI Bill or something like that. We're talking. He was back. This dude been teaching like 40-something years. He got his PhD. Like his first year teaching was the year before I was born. I mean, this guy's been around for a long time.
Been a minute.
But he said, "I can tell you're a vet." I said, "How you know that?" And he's like, "Man, you are always on time. You are never late for class, man. You're never late." He says, "Like you are not a slacker like that." He says, "You're a slacker, but you are never late." And when you posted that thing on Facebook, what was it yesterday? About the vet goes to college. What happens if the paper's late? Somebody dies.
Somebody dies.
I didn't share that. No, yeah, I totally get that. It's like,
right.
And then we're back to boot camp. They'll mess with you. Like, your boot is dirty. That's the inattention to detail. And you know what happens when someone has a dirty boot? Somebody dies, man.
So as a corpsman, I was pretty infamous for being mean to the Marines. Like, you have to imagine this. Again, I'm tiny. It'd be like, who the fuck are you? Like, why the fuck are blah, blah, blah? Like, this guy is huge. and I'm like this little chihuahua yelling at him. Most of those men were just massive. But I was infamous for just being mean to them. A lot. I would kind of bully them. And so many times they look at me and just be like, Doc, like, why you gotta be so mean? And it's like,
were you like a straight up asshole, or was it more like tough love?
it was tough love. So I was gonna give you an example though.
But it's
So
a military version of like breaking your balls tough love. So in civilian life, you were an asshole.
But it's also fucking with them. So like one of my bigger ones was making jokes about like, you're not gonna get shot if you change your socks and drink water like I told you to. So like I'd actually like not super bad injured, but I've definitely had guys get injured. Like, some stupid freak accident. They jumped over the wrong hill or they jumped over the wrong wall and they like broke the fuck out of their ankle or twisted it really bad or something stupid like that. And like while they're still in pain, like I'm still evaluating them. Like I might be looking at it, but I used to make jokes like, well, you wouldn't have like gotten shot if you'd have just changed your socks like you were supposed to. Like,
I want to smack you right there.
So many times they just be like, Doc, like really, like right now, and it's like, well, like you wouldn't have broken your ankle if you'd have hygiened better.
Take care of your feet, soldier.
Right.
Take care of your feet, Marine.
It wouldn't have broken if you didn't have such nasty feet. Like if you hadn't have banged that nasty Mahu back in Hawaii, maybe you wouldn't have broken your ankle.
We had this staff sergeant when I was at 4th ID. We got shipped over to Germany. It sucked, man. We had this Wintex for a couple months, and we went up against my old unit, and it sucked because they were like out in the field like 3 weeks, and they went back to the barracks. Like it's like January in Germany, and we were like tent city and the whole thing and all the bullshit, and so it really sucked, And it was like the coldest winter they'd had like since 1944. It was like the coldest winter since the Battle of the Bulge. Like it was ass cold, like ass cold. And and the last winter worse before that was like when Napoleon had to retreat from Moscow or something. It was seriously, it was like 1944. It was like the coldest winter since then. Like we were watching TV in the barracks a day or two before we flew over, and they were showing the nightly news. I remember watching the nightly news. And they had the gondolas in Venice, and they were frozen in ice. And this guy says, like, "Oh, that looks bad." And I said, "Dude, that's real bad." I said, "Because, like, that's farther south, and that's like really nasty, scummy water. Like, it shouldn't normally freeze. It's got too much shit in it to freeze, like oil and stuff." I go, "If the gondolas in Venice are frozen, like, we're screwed, man."
Fucked, yeah.
But it was like just cold, but it was like, oh crap! Now I can think about it. Oh, I forgot what I was going to talk about, man. I just remember every time I think about that, I think it was cold, man. But it'll come back to me later, man. Whatever it was, I don't remember now. Feet. Feet. We had this guy, Staff Sergeant Brown, and he was appropriately named because he was a real brown noser, man. He was like a career E6 trying to make E7. You know what I mean?
Right. Couldn't even he's just head and shoulders under the guy.
We used to call him Sergeant Counseling Statement because like he was like, that was his big thing. I'll give you a counseling statement. It's like, oh, okay, bend my dog tags.
Jesus.
And here, like I've got a collection of them. But anyway, so we got to hole up one night in this barn, man. It was like really weird. It was almost like being in Band of Brothers or something. Like it was like normally we didn't get like barns. Like downrange, there aren't any barns downrange like at Fort Carson, Right. So we were actually in an old, and this barn, whatever, it was like a stone barn. This thing had to be hundreds and hundreds of years old, like back to the Middle Ages or something, like crazy, like 1500. So it was really kind of cool. And so we got to be in there during the night and bivouac in there. Like we were up in the hay with our sleeping bags. It was kind of cool. But Brown takes off his boots, and it was me and Rodriguez was like, is still to this day is probably the world's biggest smartass. Like
that's impressive.
That dude could bullshit Santa Claus sitting in his lap. You know what I mean? Like he just So it's me and Rodriguez. I don't know, a couple other guys. Brown takes off his boots, and he'd have on the same socks. And like you had that like he had that like nasty ass foot smell. And he takes them off, picks up, and said they hurt. And he had like he didn't have like trench foot, right?
He had the death feet though.
He had man, them dogs were hurting, dude. That wrinkled up, looked like
them dogs was barking.
Canyon of the Gunnison and shit, like and so he sees it and then showing us all the films about like immersion foot and trench foot and all this stuff. So it's like he's all worried. He was like really worried. He's like, oh man, I think so. We like it wasn't. I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't like that bad. You know what I mean? But he didn't know, and so oh my god, right? And so what we told him, we were like, and me and Rodriguez, man, went on. We were like, dude, man, this is serious. He's like, oh, we have to like get the LT. Like, dude, we might have to medevac you, dude. We might have to call in chopper and get you out, dude. You might lose your feet. And I don't know if it's because
this motherfucker off.
I don't know if he was just stupid or if he hadn't had enough sleep or I don't know what it was, but he was buying it. Dude, we scared him. He's about to cry, man. He thought he was losing his feet. He thought he was going to lose his feet or get a court martial for being stupid or just, I mean, whatever, or man. All he knew was it was a really bad situation.
Even better, lose your feet, then get court-martialed.
Yeah. He's like, we're like, well, look, man, I'm just telling you, man, this is really bad, man. Like, you didn't see those you didn't watch those training films. You must have been too busy. Like, we started fucking with him. Like, you must have been too busy seeing if any of us in the theater were falling asleep. So you'd write a counseling statement on us, and you weren't paying attention to the movie like we were. Right. That's why you're going to lose your feet now. And like, he's just freaking out. It was great. We had him crapping his pants for like about 25 minutes, man. And then finally we were like, okay, here's the deal, dude. Put on some freaking dry socks, man. Right. Get your towel. Like you better have a towel. You damn well better have a towel. Get your towel, dry your feet off, put on some fresh socks. Do not put your socks on. Sleep barefoot in your bed, whatever. Get your fucking feet right. But for about 20 minutes, man, we scared the shit out of him. And it was great because, like I say, he was that staff sergeant that, like in garrison, he was real good at making sure all your fluid levels were topped off and shit, like in the motor pool. But like if you were out like in a real situation, he would just get you killed. He was a dumb.
Yeah, he was an idiot.
He was an idiot with stripes, but that was the best.
He was the kind of guy that I used to get medals for disobeying direct orders from.
Yeah, this guy Brown. I think I cannot help that night though. That was so funny. We about had him crying, man. Like he was just like, "Big, okay, is there a way we can get this taken care of without like the chain of command finding out?" And,
100%. Let me get my saw. I'll fucking fix it.
I'm due for my E7 stripe. We're like, dude, you ain't never getting your E7, man. You can be in the Army 38 years and you're going to retire at E6. You're dumbass. You can't even. How you gonna make E7 when you can't even keep your feet dry correctly?
Right.
How you gonna lead soldiers into battle and you got bad feet?
Well, because like you said though, just an idiot.
Yeah, but what was that? Like that whole thing's important even in backpacking. It's like in fact, actually, I'm actually a minister, and I was talking with this pastor one time. We were talking about the metaphor in the book of Romans about the church, the body of Christ. There's like, different parts, like, the leg, the arm, the feet, whatever. And when he's got like, there's the parts people think of they're more, what he called honorable and dishonorable. So like the feet were like
the dick of Christ
to dishonorable. And I'm talking with this guy, and he had done the Camino in Spain. He was given a talk about doing the Camino, and he had brought pictures he took and everything, And so he was taking some questions, and I asked him, I said, something, I got to talk about his feet. I said, like, so how many shoes you go through or whatever, what shoes you take or something. And so we had to talk about the whole thing. And I said, if you're a real hiker or you've been in the military or something, your feet, man, are like about as important as it can get as far as like, if your feet fuck up. Critical. Yeah.
You both my arms, but I need both my feet.
So it's like, but in the structure of things, like I'm not trying to get all religious and all, but like in the structure of things, in a lot of churches, I saw when I was a pastor, when people that got the big paychecks give the big money, they're the big wigs, and then like the little old lady that sits in the back and don't do shit, or the broom pitcher or the whatever, the little people. But actually, it should be the other way around, because the little people, if they get screwed up, you ain't going nowhere. Like that's your feet are screwed up, Because I was thinking about, talking about Band of Brothers, man. What was it like in, there's two things. Like one was that, but no, what I'm thinking of is the movie We Were Soldiers with Gibson talking about the old, airborne cav when they went into what was it, Idrang Valley in Vietnam, and he's training his officers. They were at Benning, and they're training the unit because they're the first. Well, they were first air mobile cav,
Right.
And so he was talking about the importance of the feet. And so they showed this shot. They got this LT, and he's out running his guys through some, course. I don't know, confidence course. It was something. And he's like, like super soldier. He's just like, And then,
as they do,
then they see this other guy, and he's got his soldiers up under. They're out like on a ruck march, and he's checking their feet, man. He's got their socks off, and he's personally down there, the LT, like in their feet. You know what I mean? Checking it out for blisters, making sure everything's okay. And Mel Gibson says to, oh shit, man, who was Tommy Lee Jones? Maybe played the first Sarge, and this guy been in the army since like Egypt had chariots or something. You know what I mean? And they're like, so they're walking around and they're kind of watching how they're doing the training. And he says to the top, man, he says to the one guy who's out running his troops, says, oh, that guy just wants to get medals.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, the other guy that's checking out his soldiers' feet, man, he says, that guy, now he's going to be a leader.
Right.
He's going to be a leader.
Yeah.
Because you got to care about your troops, man. That you out on a ruck march, dude, you're going to stick your face up in someone's foot to make sure they change their socks, right?
That was my job. I did that shit all the time.
Yeah.
I had to be like, how your asshole doing? I mean, and again, like, that's probably his reaction too. And I'd be like, but for real.
And you were with a Marine unit. Now, was it a regular line unit, rifleman, or was it a Force Recon or?
It was an 0311 Grunt battalion.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how long were you there? How long were you in country with them when they started calling you Doc? How long did that take?
Honestly, don't even remember. I feel like they started calling me Doc almost from day one because I mean that first incident when I got hurt treating like a 4-person Mascaz, that was like my 3rd or 4th patrol.
Oh, when you got the in the forearm.
Yep.
Yeah.
This little cutie right here. Oh yeah. That you can barely see it, but yeah, that fucking.
What was that thing you posted something about that? Was it on Facebook the other day, or was it something about?
It was on my story. Yeah.
Yeah.
I made a joke about if you want to be a climber, try not getting shot in the forearm first.
So does it affect like your grip strength, or I mean, how your
ability? So for one, I'm diagnosed with ulnar palsy of the right forearm. So like I don't have full function of my pinky and ring finger for starters. They were paralyzed for like 5 years, 6 years. They were paralyzed entirely. So like they were wooden. I couldn't feel them at all, and didn't move. After some healing time, as well as because the nerve had to heal, I have nerve damage real gnarly in that arm. Between that and then starting to climb again, starting to kayak again, all of that, it built a lot of accessory muscle to enable those things to work better.
Right.
Because part of the reason this is so ugly is because the entire muscle compartment is evacuated. There is no muscle underneath this.
Basically, your arm did a workaround and found a way to get things done.
Right. So it uses other muscles in my forearm to basically assist in moving these fingers. I don't have full use of it. And 2 things happen when I climb. One, whenever I work out and the forearm gets, since I'm climbing, my forearm's going to get super, pumped with blood and whatnot. This blares out. So as my muscles get engorged with blood, this scar just is pulsing with blood. It's really gross.
You'd be thinking you're turning into the Hulk or something, man. I pissed him off. He's gonna rip his shirt apart.
I always make a joke about my biggest fear climbing is this thing just bursts one day.
Like Alien, man. This little alien sticks his head out, man.
Yeah, man. It's it's an irrational fear, but that's my joke with my friends.
Find out you're a replicant, man.
That's right, dude.
Like Blade Runner.
That chick was not as clean as I thought she was. But yeah, so the other thing that happens is sometimes the whole arm or my hand will almost lock up because it's just done. Sometimes it will just be done climbing and that's it. And so I'm usually done with my workout for that day kind of thing. But So either way, after that day, though, I mean, I frankly have I've almost had no Marine ever doubt me ever since. So I feel like they almost called me Doc from day one. What they called us when me and all my buddies from Buds first got there, they just called us Buds Duds, which made us super happy. We loved that.
Yeah, so some people know it's like basically you were in dive phase, and there's like that. It was like an pressure equalization in the tank, right? And like basically your Eustachian tube wouldn't stay open.
So my Eustachian
Is that basically it?
Generally speaking, yeah. So I couldn't even go below like 15 feet of water without blinding pain. It was really stupid. It sucked. But I saw Eustachian tube dysfunction is what the diagnosis was. But basically, I'd had a double ear infection, a bilateral ear infection, so both ears in boot camp, and I had a lot of ear infections as a kid and had scarring and shit. And so when it came to doing like any kind of deep underwater, and like I said, not even deep, like 15 feet, pathetic amounts of deep, I was having like really intense pain. And they made me pass out twice underwater just to prove to them that I wasn't being a pussy, which was lots of fun for me. But they basically made me shallow water blackout a couple times to prove to them it really was a problem. So I passed out underwater 2 different times just to show them that, look, like I can't do this. Like I don't know what to do. And then when I went to medical and they checked it out, like they tried to roll me back once, and after that it was just over.
All I have to say is, if I was one of the guys in your unit over in Iraq, though, I'd be thinking, man, dude, our medic like went through Hell Week. All right, he's a graduate of Hell Week. He made it through Hell Week. That's a guy that I'm going to have a little bit of a depth of faith and value in. You know?
Yeah, I mean, they did. They had a lot of faith in me. Like, they made fun of me. Sure, they made fun of me a lot for failing Buds. Which is fine. Like, I squared with that. It was good for my ego for sure. I used to have a terribly huge ego. And that's buffed out with time. The very first step was failing my dream. That was a huge hit. And like I said, I've always told people, I think it was a very necessary hit. I would have been an impossibly big asshole as a SEAL.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I had a similar thing, but it wasn't a physical thing or like a military thing, but it was an academic thing. But I went through I had this whole thing. I was going to graduate from the school, and it didn't happen that way. And I did end up getting my degree and everything. Everything worked out. But you were talking about how that right out the gate, that thing, like, it humbled you, and I had this realization that, like, yeah, that can be a good thing. That can be a good thing,
Right. It taught me how to fail. Straight up.
Yeah, I had a total fall on your face, screw it up. Like, no one thinks you're even gonna come back from this kind of mistake, and I did. It took a while,
but I mean, the reality is, I mean, as fascinated as people are about Buds, I mean, it was frankly a very small piece of my career. It was a 4-month exercise that I failed after boot camp. And then, like, my career started. My career started out of that kind of, like, failure. And I never failed anything ever again. Like, ever again.
Hey, we only got a little time because we've been just like going for a couple hours, which is cool. What talk about this? Like, well, we talked about it before in Memphis, but you're doing the thing with vets with PTSD and getting the like outdoor therapy. Is that what it's called? Like outdoor therapy?
Yeah, we've coined it as adventure therapy.
Adventure therapy, that's it.
But the idea is it's basically nature therapy. We've just coined it as adventure therapy to kind of make it a little more palatable for people, whether it's vets or whether it's folks in Washington, making it a little more, Americanized, where it doesn't sound so hippy dippy. So we call it
right. Well, like in Japan, they have a thing called forest bathing, which is like you go out in the forest and go out and just check out the woods. And forest bathing, that ain't gonna work for an average American. That's too passive.
So adventure therapy is based on nature therapy, which is based on forest bathing, which is Shinrin-yoku. Like Shinrin-yoku is exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
It's all based on the same stuff. It is. I guess the difference, adventure therapy, like if I was going to nuance it a bit, adventure therapy is different with vets and PTSD because it does give us different benefits. That it's not only the forest that's helping us. Part of it's the camaraderie. Part of it the isolation. Part of it's the break. Well, I mean, this is still nature therapy oriented, but it's the break from the daily grind. Like whether you don't love your job, whether you're not super stoked on your spouse every day. I've never heard of anybody being super stoked on their spouse every single day. Your kids, your fucking stupid cat. I mean, life.
Right.
Life is frustrating. And so you don't have to go as extreme as I do, or even you do, to basically, like we think, get the benefits from some time outdoors, doing certain things. Generally physically orienting. But yeah, so the idea is treating PTSD and treating mental health with outdoor time, adventure therapy, climbing mountains, going rafting, playing around in a cave, whatever it is, sailing, scuba diving. It could be damn near anything, surfing, snowboarding. And the big things that they do is, one, it puts you with a whole bunch of kind of comrades. It's putting you with people, and you know, when you ask any vet, what's the biggest thing they miss about the military? They almost always say, like, my goddamn friends. Like,
yeah.
I miss the
One of the
camaraderie.
coolest things was going to see Turk on my road trip, man. I will
Like-
never forget that moment. I pulled up about 11:45.
Mm-hmm.
He's on his little kind of back street, you know, little residential neighborhood thing in Portland near downtown. And he came outside, and I was in my car going, okay, I got to get on my, it's like the Apollo crew, like landed and splashed. Okay, before we even get out, man, let's just get our shit secure here. Figure out, okay, where's my wallet? What am I, am I taking my phone? And so I'm like trying to get my shit together because I'm going, okay, I'm going to walk in. And I had this whole thing in my head driving there, like, all right, I'm going to knock on the door and, hell no, man. I hadn't even got out of my car yet. He was out in the street and we're hugging and I hadn't seen that bro in like over 30 years,
I mean, I'll certainly have those
moments. We're so tight,
It's amazing. Like, I've seen some guys lately that I haven't seen in like 10 years. And it's like nothing even happened. It's like no time.
Right. Passed. Yeah.
It's really neat.
Yeah.
But the camaraderie is what people mainly miss. And so you give them back that camaraderie and that community with a common kind of goal or a common new exercise, new hobby, which is really important. You also get a lot of time in your own head, which is exceedingly important. One reason, like, I'm a guide and I'm not a teacher, is
so you can kind of like be in your head, but in a group at the same time.
Well, totally. Because I mean, a lot of the times, like Kilimanjaro is a great example. Like me and the other 9 vets that did Kili together, which by the way was an adventure therapy program. Like, Kilimanjaro was a.
Was that the one that were you with that one that they had the NFL guys were climbing with it? And it was
that's I forget what that's called, but that's the water boys. The water boys do.
That's it. Yeah. I saw a thing on NFL Today about them.
They do 6 athletes and 6 vets. So this was different.
Yeah. Okay.
Ours is out of North Texas. It's a nonprofit that I work for and with, called the Warriors Keep.
Warriors Keep.
Out of like the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
I'll look that up.
We're actually pretty sure that we have the most U.S. veterans ever summiting Kilimanjaro in a single day. I think we hold the record for that. The water boys is what everybody always thinks of, but I think they only usually have like 6 or 8. We had 10.
Wow.
Either way.
And that's about 19. It's like 19,000 something feet, right? Just under 20,000.
19,340 at Uhuru Peak. Freedom Peak is what it means in Swahili, which is why it's part of the reason that the founders chose it. Freedom Peak. They loved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Uhuru Peak is about 19,340 feet. But even in that, so like on any kind of backpacking trip, even though you're with people, this is true for the AT, this is true for Kilimanjaro, this is true for the PCT. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Even if you go with people, you are going to naturally kind of separate throughout the day. Some people fall out. People have different paces. Like I might meet you for lunch, 3 hours from now. We're
going to camp out at the same shelter tonight on the AT, but we might be all stretched out on the trail.
Absolutely. And so that alone time is critical for kind of personal reflection and development. And then here you get to hash it out at the campfire later.
Right. Right.
And it's exceedingly powerful. And then not to mention just the break from the grind, like plugging out of society and plugging into this cool, communal, very brotherhood and, camaraderie oriented exercise. And here it's physically exhausting. You're building your mental health. You're building your physical health. All of this stuff kind of comes together in almost like a mental health runner's high. And you come back feeling energized. You're not beat down anymore. And then
working out thing, it'll do it for you. It's funny. I left when I left the gym today. Like I said, pretty good workout. Like yesterday beat my ass. I got broke down on some burpees yesterday, but I was just thinking to myself, like, I was sucking. But I was like going, this is actually when the work gets done. So it's like, okay, next time I'll be sucking, I've done 5 more burpees than say however many I did, 30 or something. I don't know.
Totally.
But it was like I was after the run, dude. I was ooh. But today it's a little smoother, but it's a good day. And I was leaving and trainer said something about when I got back off the road trip and everything, I hadn't been in the gym in a while and I was sucking when I got back. I was like, jeez, I'm pathetic. And he said, look, man, you probably got on like 20 pounds more than you usually do. You haven't been in the gym in months. You've been out riding around drinking Mountain Dew for like 2 months. And now I've been back and I've been steady going about 5 days a week, mostly now for about a month or so and getting it back. And it was funny. He says, yeah, well, some people, they only come like a couple times a week, and like you're here, you're steady, man. You're 5-6 days a week. And I said, yeah. And I said, dude, this is my church, man. I said, I'm supposed to be a preacher, but it's like going to getting that workout time and it's like my day's right.
Yeah.
It's the center of my thing. I guess I became a jock. I don't know. But it's like the center of my thing. It's like, before it's like, okay, boom, going to my workout, do my workout. After my workout, it's just, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You just feel good,
And there's just a lot of things happen. Whether it's like a workout or into like physical thing, or whether you're picking one of these outdoor sports, it ends up boosting a lot of, really positive chemicals, and it reduces stress chemicals. And
I remember when I finished the Spartan race, man, woo! I have the only times in my life I can think I've had like a bigger, like King Kong power rush. I've accomplished something like that with like maybe in boot camp. So some stuff, stuff in boot camp, or some stuff in the military. But basically, maybe when I was a kid in Scouts, some long hike I did where I went like, oh, I can't believe I hiked this whole thing. I was like 11, something like that. But
you feel really fucking good.
Oh, when I came across that line and they have the victory wall, they call it. Like they take your photo right. I mean, you cross the line and they take your photo like 2 seconds later. You don't have time to think. And I'm just up there just like, oh, man. Like I felt so. And it was funny because then the next week I ran the Bone Frog. When I finished that, I was just glad I was done. I was just like, where's my beer? Like I got a free Coors Light. I was just like, okay, man, I just want my Coors Light. It was a great feeling.
Right.
But it wasn't the same. Yeah, when I finished the Spartan race, I felt like I had a consciousness transcending experience, basically. Whereas the Bone Frog was more like, okay, look, man, I'm gonna have this beer and I'm gonna go find a Waffle House and get some pancakes now.
So
like, kind of a thing.
Imagine having that every single day. That's what it's like to do one of the long distance hikes. Like you do 20 miles a day. Every day is hard, and then every day has really high reward when you lay down and wake up the next day. You're just in this like entirely transcendiary state of being. You really are. Mm-hmm. And that's why like post-trail, there's something called post-trail depression. It is a thing.
Saw a guy post in the AT Facebook group site about it last night.
Mm-hmm.
The guy wanted some basically some advice on how to deal with it, from other hikers.
And even your road trip, like you went through that.
Oh man, coming back to Ocala, because Ocala sucks, dude.
When you got
it's hard to like be out in Moab and then come back to Ocala on like so many levels. I mean, we're not Moab here, but there is some cool nature around here. I mean,
sure.
Springs and all, but coming back here after being in Moab or Leadville or some of the other, oh no, it was.
I mean, that's how it feels being back in Reno. honestly, like Reno ain't no Moab. I miss Moab. I loved Moab.
Yeah.
Like I'll probably end up living there next summer, like doing guiding stuff there. Like I thought.
Oh my God, you got me thinking, man. Because I was right away just going like, dude, man, I should like dust off my spatula and my chef knife, man. Go out there and cook season.
Yep.
I've been thinking about it because it's funny. You talk about like the camaraderie thing.
They got restaurants.
Oh yeah, they do. I got in
Sure
some
do.
Facebook groups now. They're like line cooks and all, and it's really funny. I think about. I will start laughing. I'll be looking at some meme. Somebody posts like the only group of people I've been around in my life that are close to how I think of like people I knew in the military is like when I was a cook and worked in kitchens for like 15, 20 years after I got out of the military. And man, line cooks are some rude sons of bitches, man, for the most part. It's like line cooking is a weird.
It's an attitude.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle. It's not a job. It's a lifestyle, man.
Yeah.
Usually it's a really abusive one, much like soldiering.
Whenever you talk to cooks, man, like they talk about chef. Chef is LT, and
it's top, man.
You guys are a squad, and one person fucks up, everybody fucks up.
You got a crew, man. You got that line, man. One line, one team. Or the prep crew. Or
it's it's very much the one team, one fight mentality. Very much.
Well, hey man, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna put up this little screen here. I guess it's got. I hope I do the right one. It's
all
got,
right,
like,
bro.
Sponsors or something. Oh, that's
this has been great. Been a lot of fun. Great.
Yeah, this wasn't even the actual podcast. This is where's the?
This is just
I gotta figure out. Yeah, we're just shooting the shit. Oh, here it is. Here we go. I can talk to this one, and then we're gonna go out here. So this is the credits. These are the people that like I said, go to patreon.com/rucksackrev and check it out. My Patreon site. And these are some people. Actually, Scarlett Kofer. I did a podcast with her. She's pretty cool. Her husband's Marine. He's at Camp Lejeune, getting ready to go outside CONUS for a while. David's Delicious Delights. He makes cheesecake, which I think is a food group. And then this is Warren Tidwell, Hometown Action. It's a progressive collective in Alabama, basically trying to help some poor people get along better. And
always a good,
help people get through life, get some justice in the world. So hey, I'm gonna close it out here, and it's good talking with you. And I'll get a hold of you in the next couple of days, man. We'll schedule up a actual podcast or something maybe next week.
Sounds good, Gene.
We'll work it out, man. Later on, brother. Bye.
Cheers.